If you've been here for my initial testimony, you know I don't want.
Oh, listen, I read your testimony word for word, and I've been watching it, and I know what the answer is. You don't actually care about working people because you're absolutely hell-bent on this ideological agenda of opening our border. You want to give everybody who's here a path to citizenship. You want blanket amnesty. You talk about mass deportations. That's your word, not Trump's. You want mass amnesty, right? It's right here in your testimony.
We want a path to citizenship for
That's
people
amnesty.
who pass a background check, who pay a fine.
That's amnesty, who you just said there's millions of people, 13 million people. Right, 13 million people you want to dump into the labor force.
They are already
who will drive
in the labor force,
illegally.
Senator.
They're here,
yes.
taking jobs
so
from American citizens. And so, perfect.
This.
So here's your plan. So just if you're one.
What's up, Patriots? Welcome back to the channel where we put America first and speak the truth the mainstream media won't touch. If you love your country, secure borders, and the rule of law, you are in the right place. Today, we're reacting to an absolutely jaw-dropping exchange from the U.S. Senate, where Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri laid out the facts, the outrage, and the reality of what's going on at our southern border. This is the kind of leadership America desperately needs right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for being here. I have to say, I'm kind of amazed that we're holding this hearing. To me, it's remarkable that the idea of actually, as you were just saying, Ms. Moran, the idea of enforcing our laws, protecting our border, securing our streets from criminals, it's amazing that that's controversial at all. And it says something a lot about the other side of the dais that we're having this hearing today. Let me just ask you, Mr. Reichlin-Melnick, I mean, is it really such a bad idea to deport people like the criminal who killed this young man? This is Travis Wolf. He was 12 years old when he was killed. He was mowed down, and I do mean mowed down, in a car by an illegal immigrant, 12 years of age, walking along a sidewalk in my state of Missouri, mowed down by an illegal immigrant who I think also had a prior criminal record. Is it such a bad idea to deport the person who killed him?
Any person who commits a heinous crime should suffer the consequences under the law.
Good. What about Officer David Lee? Officer David Lee was killed in Missouri just a few months ago by another illegal immigrant, once again in a car, who used it as a lethal weapon to ram him and kill him. Is it so wrong, such a bad idea to deport the illegal immigrant who killed this good man?
Again, any person who commits an awful act should face the full force of the law. And
We've had multiple stabbings in the state of Missouri at laundromats in O'Fallon, Missouri, where innocent civilians were going to do their laundry of an evening and were attacked with knives, slashed, bled, stomped upon. Should the illegals who did that, should they not be deported?
No, as I said, if you commit an offense, you should face consequences. But the overwhelming majority of the 13 million people here today
We've had officers assaulted in Kansas City on the other side of the state who have been assaulted by illegal immigrants. One officer required over 100 stitches to the head, a police officer, earlier this year. Should the illegal immigrant who did that not be deported?
Again, they should face the consequences of the law, but they are a very small minority of the population that President Trump is promising to deport.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the people who you don't want to be deported. You said in an article that you wrote recently, new report shows devastating costs of mass deportation. You wrote this in October. Do you remember this piece?
Yes, that is a summary of our report.
Yeah, so in this piece, and it's also in your written testimony, you talk about how much the economy will lose if the United States actually enforces our immigration laws and deports folks who are here illegally. And I want to quote you now. You say some industries would be particularly hard hit, including construction, agriculture, and hospitality, which combined would lose more than 2.5 million workers. What's the argument here, that there aren't American workers who are available to do those jobs?
No, and as I said previously, there likely are, but the issue is that—
And you don't want their wages to rise?
I think that we want to pass a path to citizenship so we can have a level and fair playing field for every American.
Why would you want American citizens and those who are here lawfully to have to compete against illegal immigrants who, by the way, are often paid not minimum wage, who are not given the federally mandated benefits precisely because they're here illegally? Why would you want to drive down the wages of millions of working Americans who can't get those jobs in construction, agriculture, and hospitality because illegal immigrants are getting them? Suppressing suppressing wages in the meantime. Why would you want to do that?
Well, if you didn't hear from my initial testimony, you know I don't want
Oh,
that.
listen, I read your testimony word for word, and
avoid.
I've been watching it, and I know what the answer is. You don't actually care about working people because you're absolutely hell-bent on this ideological agenda of opening our border. You want to give everybody who's here a path to citizenship. You want blanket amnesty. You talk about mass deportations. That's your word, not Trump's. You want mass amnesty, right? It's right here in your testimony.
We want a path to citizenship for
That's
people
amnesty.
who pass a background check, who pay a
That's
fine.
amnesty, who you
and
just
that
said
way
there's
we'll get
millions of
a
people,
level
13
playing
million people. Right, 13 million people you want to dump into the labor force.
They are
Who
already
will drive
in the labor force,
illegally?
Senator.
They're here,
Yes.
taking jobs
So
from
let's
American
make it
citizens. And so,
legal and avoid
perfect. So
this.
here's your plan. So just if you're wondering, America, here's the Democrats' plan. Take the 13 million plus illegals who are here, taking jobs from Americans, taking wages down, taking health care benefits, and bring them here legally so that they can continue to drive down wages, flood the labor force, and suppress all
Senator
of the
Hawley,
above.
they can't flood the labor force if they're already part of the labor force, which is
They
the
are
economic
flooding the
issue
labor
today.
force now. That's what's happening now. Why do
The
you think
majority
wages
have been here for
flatlined?
over 15 years. Many millions have been
And
here
what has
since the
happened to
Reagan
working class
administration.
wages in that time, Mr. Reichlin-Melnick?
Working class
Have they gone
wages
up?
are currently going up. Yes,
Oh, really?
they
They've
have
gone up over the last
year.
15 years?
Over the
They're
last
up?
15 years, I will have to consult the economists on that matter.
Yeah, they're down, way down. What world do you live in? Listen,
Senator Hawley,
here's the deal. The American
familiar
people
with the phrase,
just voted.
"Don't
The American
cut off your
people
nose to
just
spite your
voted.
face"?
Well, you know what? It's my time, not yours. So you're here to answer my questions, not to offer a soliloquy. And let me just end with this. The American people just got a good look at your economic program, and they voted against it. We've had an open border for the last 4 years. We have had de facto amnesty, as you yourself just said, for the last 15 plus years. It has been a disaster. People have died because of it. Wages are lower because of it. Our streets are in chaos because of it. And now you and the Democrat Party just say more of the same, more of the same. Let's double down. I would just say to you, I think that's insanity. I think it's total insanity, and the American people do too.
Senator Hawley, we have a choice. We can either hurt the economy or help the economy. And if we want to deport 13 million
It hurts the
people-
economy to give
Hurt the
American
economy.
workers jobs?
Senator from Texas.
All right, let's talk about what just happened. Senator Hawley is shocked, and honestly, so am I, that we even have to hold a hearing to ask whether criminals who cross our border illegally and kill American citizens should be deported. Folks, this should be common sense. You break our laws, you harm Americans, you gotta go. That's not controversial. That's not partisan. That's basic national sovereignty. But you know what's even crazier? The left is treating this like some kind of radical, mean-spirited idea. Enforcing our laws, protecting our families? Suddenly, that's taboo in Washington, D.C. Let's remember the names Senator Hawley brought up. Travis Wolf, only 12 years old, mowed down on a sidewalk in Missouri by an illegal alien with a criminal record. Officer David Lee, murdered in the line of duty by another illegal immigrant using a car as a weapon. And what did we hear from the witness? Well, anybody who commits a heinous crime should face the consequences under the law. But folks, here's the problem. The consequences aren't tough enough, and they sure aren't stopping these tragedies. How many more Americans have to die before the left wakes up? Now, let's get to the economic argument. The left says, oh, if we actually enforce our immigration laws, we'll lose millions of workers in construction, agriculture, and hospitality. Let's be real. This is straight-up fear-mongering. They claim there aren't enough Americans to do these jobs. But what they really mean is they don't want to pay American workers a fair wage. They'd rather keep wages low, exploit illegal labor, and throw working Americans under the bus. Senator Hawley nailed it. Why should our citizens have to compete with people who aren't even supposed to be here in the first place? Why should American wages be artificially suppressed because Democrats refuse to secure the border? Here's the heart of the matter. The Democrats' big plan is amnesty. They want to take 13 million, maybe more illegal immigrants, and give them a path to citizenship. They want to flood the labor force with people who already broke our laws. And they try to dress it up as compassion. But what about compassion for Americans? For the families who can't find good-paying jobs? For the victims of illegal immigrant crime? Senator Hawley asked the witness, why do you want to drive down American wages? And what did the witness say? Basically, oh, I support a path to citizenship. That's code for amnesty. Folks, that's code for more chaos, more crime, and more competition for working Americans. And then, when Hawley points out that bringing 13 million new citizens into the workforce will flood the labor market, the witness tries to play games. They're already part of the labor force. Really? If they're already working illegally, that's a problem. Now you want to reward them for breaking the law, while millions of Americans are still struggling. And don't let anyone tell you wages are going up. Working class wages have been stagnant for years. Inflation is out of control. Real wages are down. The only people who benefit from this system are big corporations and the politicians who protect them. Here's the best part. Senator Hawley said it straight. The American people just voted, and they voted against open borders. They voted against amnesty. They voted for law and order, for secure borders, and for putting Americans first. Look, we are a nation of immigrants, yes, but we are also a nation of laws. You cannot have a country without borders. You cannot have justice if you reward lawbreaking. The left wants to double down on the same failed policies that brought us chaos, fentanyl, lost jobs, and lost lives. That's insanity. Patriots, it's up to us. We need to keep the pressure on our leaders to enforce our laws, secure our borders, and stand up for the forgotten men and women of this country. Call your senators. Share this video. Tell your friends and neighbors the truth. Amnesty is not the answer. Chaos is not compassion. If you want to see more real talk, more truth, and more America First commentary, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Let's keep fighting for our country. Let's keep fighting for American families. Stand strong, stay proud, and God bless the USA.